Hey guys, Ben here with Oddly Armed, and today we're going to be checking out the disassembly for the IWI Carmel. So let's go ahead and jump into it and see how this thing works. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off by dropping our mag out of the rifle. And then our first step for disassembly is going to be to fold the stock here. So we go ahead and hit our latch, fold it over to the right side of the rifle. And then if you can see here on this side, this latch is actually going to be the two pins which hold in the back plate and the bolt carrier group. So looking at the back, if you press that in, you can take some pressure off of the pins, and then you can actually just pull them across and it'll pop. And then you can just pull your bolt carrier group as well as your recoil spring assembly right out the back of the rifle. Now the Carmel utilizes an AR-18 style bolt carrier group, and then the recoil spring assembly is actually going to be integrated into it, and that's going to be these two springs that are nested around this polymer rod in the middle, and they're pretty stiff springs there, but we aren't going to be disassembling that at all, and you can see our end plate in the back. The next step for the bolt carrier group is going to be removing our firing pin retaining pin, which is right here. So with a cartridge case, we're going to go ahead and press that across, and then the tough part here is making sure that you pull it all the way across, and sometimes you got to press in a little bit on the firing pin to pull it out all the way. It is captured though, but once you get it out, there we go, your firing pin is going to come out the back with the firing pin spring. So you can see that there. We'll go ahead and put that aside. There is that firing pin safety in the back here, so you have to depress that for the firing pin to come out. Now the bolt carrier group is going to come apart the same way it does on an AR-15 at this point. So we have our cam pin. So that's just going to pop out very nice and easily like that. And then the bolt is just going to pull straight out the front. And you can see it is an AR-18 style bolt. And nothing too crazy there. Again, it doesn't have any of your gas components for the AR-15. And then we do have dual ejectors there and our extractor. So nothing too crazy for this part of the rifle. All right, so moving back to the receiver, we're going to go ahead and pop our stock back out, and then there's going to be this pin here at the rear of your fire control group and your lower receiver. So just take a cartridge case, press that. It might be a little bit tight, but eventually it's going to pop through, and then you just pull it out the other side here, at which point you can go ahead and pivot your lower receiver down, and then it's just held on by two hooks here in the front. Not a ton to see here with the lower receiver, so we can get a good look inside of our trigger group there. And again, this has a very, very nice trigger, but it is not a standard AR-15 trigger, so you're not going to be able to swap that out. And it's almost like an AK style of like a single hook trigger there in the front. But we'll go ahead and drop that back, and then you can just see our controls on here. There's really nothing too crazy going on with the lower receiver. And going back to the upper receiver, you can kind of get an idea of why the IWI Carmel is as heavy as it is. So this is actually pretty much all steel on the inside here. So this part in the back is steel up here, and the polymer around it is really more of a shell than anything else. So it still has a ton of steel on the inside of the receiver, which is where a bunch of the weight is going to come from. Now it's pretty tight in there, so it is going to be hard to get in there to clean some stuff, but you can see the chamber there at the front, as well as a polymer shell pretty much surrounding the receiver. Now in the manual, it says that you can remove the gas plug and the piston without taking the handguard off of the rifle. Now I was able to get the piston or the gas plug out of the rifle, but the piston didn't want to come out with it. So to get it out, you might have to remove the handguard. So I'll show you how to do that real quickly. Now getting the piston itself out is actually kind of a pain too, because you don't have a lot of room to work with in the receiver to rotate it. But for taking off the handguard, there are just two screws on either side of the receiver here. So we'll go ahead and screw those out. And there's not a ton of thread, so they come out pretty easily. And then there is a third one here on the bottom of the receiver. So we'll go ahead and hit that guy as well. And with those three screws out, we can go ahead and slide our handguard, which was just going to pop straight off the front of the receiver. So we can get a good look at that. See, it's pretty thick aluminum. It's not the lightest handguard in the world. And just another reason to not love the handguard on this. But that's pretty much how you can get to the point where you expose your gas system. All right, now the last step is going to be getting our gas system taken apart. So the gas plug here at the front has some holes in it, which are perfectly sized for the tip of a 5.56 round. So that's going to be our tool. And on the gas plug, you can see there's a cutout right here, which should line up with this lug here in the gas block. So you just rotate it till it kind of pops here, and then it should just pull straight out the front. And then we'll get our gas plug here. So you can see the two holes there. Larger one is going to be the regular setting, and the small one is going to be suppressor setting. So it's quite a bit smaller, so you're getting a ton less gas. Now coming back to the rifle here, next thing is going to be getting out our piston. So this part is a little bit awkward. There we go. So it's going to slide out the front eventually. And this is going to be our gas piston. And it's very simple, just like a steel rod here with some rings in the front to help it seal a little bit. Now you can